You've always believed you had to speak up to show your strength. Every time someone challenged your opinion or criticized your choices, you felt compelled to react immediately. But let me ask you something. Has constantly explaining yourself ever truly made you feel stronger or just more exhausted? Deep down, every time you rush to respond, it's your hidden insecurity talking, not your confidence. Your urge to justify every decision, to correct every misunderstanding, is rooted in a subtle fear. The fear that silence will make you appear weak, vulnerable, or incapable. Yet here's the paradox you've been missing. Real power doesn't lie in constant reaction. It thrives in deliberate silence. When you remain silent, you step out of their game. Instead of feeding into their expectation, you disrupt their assumptions. Suddenly, your silence becomes a mirror, forcing the other person to confront their own hidden anxieties. Without your words to push against, they're left alone with their insecurities, forced to question themselves rather than you. Ask yourself honestly, what truly happens inside someone's mind when they're met with your unexpected silence? Do they feel empowered, or do they become unsettled, questioning their own motives and judgments? The truth is, your silence exposes their hidden fears far more effectively than your words ever could. Carl Jung put it clearly: everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. By choosing silence, you shift from being the reactive one to becoming the observer, from being controlled to regaining control. So, the next time you feel the urge to immediately respond, pause and consider. Could staying silent in this moment be the most powerful response you've ever chosen? You may have noticed how quickly you react whenever someone criticizes or challenges you. Have you ever paused to ask yourself why you feel compelled to instantly respond, to immediately defend your position? The truth hidden behind this automatic reaction is more profound and perhaps more uncomfortable than you realize. Your eagerness to speak up isn't simply about clarifying a misunderstanding. Instead, it's a deeper, subtler cry from your ego, your fragile inner self desperately seeking validation, recognition, and acceptance from the world around you. Consider this carefully. Every time you rush to justify your decisions, you are silently confessing an insecurity. The more urgently you explain yourself, the clearer your unspoken fears become. This need for constant external validation is a classic ego defense mechanism, a psychological shield built unconsciously to protect your vulnerable self-image. By responding immediately, you hope to prove your worth, reassure yourself of your own strength, and avoid facing the uncomfortable silence that would force you inward. Friedrich Nietzsche saw clearly through this illusion, exposing the uncomfortable truth with precision. Most people do not seek the truth when they argue. They seek power. Pause for a moment and reflect. Have your arguments truly been about discovering understanding? Or are you unknowingly engaged in a silent struggle for dominance, desperate to assert control in situations where you secretly feel powerless? Have you noticed that the more intensely you argue, the more clearly your hidden insecurities rise to the surface? Could it be that each defensive word you speak is actually an admission of the very weakness you fear revealing? But there is another way, one that completely inverts your traditional understanding of strength. Consider silence. To Nietzsche, silence wasn't passivity, nor was it weakness. It was instead the ultimate weapon of the Übermensch, the superior person who rises above ordinary social dynamics and manipulation. Picture your silence as a wall, firm, solid, impenetrable. While words can be debated, manipulated, or twisted, your silence offers no handholds, no cracks for others to exploit. Even more, it acts like an invisible blade, silently yet sharply cutting through the facades people build around themselves. Without words to bounce off, your silence forces others to confront the uncomfortable truths hidden within their own minds. Nietzsche captured this perfectly when he wrote, The superior man remains silent because every word given is a piece handed to the enemy. Have you considered your silence as a powerful weapon? Are you truly ready to master this silent strength and accept the profound responsibility that comes with wielding it? Your silence is more than the absence of words. It's the presence of true confidence, a signal that you can no longer be easily manipulated. Now let's go deeper into the unsettling psychological reality of silence. Have you ever wondered why your silence can make someone else so visibly uncomfortable or agitated? The truth is, when you choose not to react, the other person is left completely exposed to their internal chaos. Without your counter-arguments or clarifications to anchor them, their minds start spiraling into their own uncertainties. Neuroscience shows clearly how silence can activate the amygdala, the brain's fear center, triggering anxiety and emotional turmoil in the person confronting the silence. This is why your silence can be experienced as unsettling or even threatening. It removes the comforting distraction of external conflict and forces them to face the turmoil within. Carl Jung called this process psychological projection. When confronted with silence, people subconsciously project their inner fears and insecurities onto you. Your refusal to engage in their emotional drama forces them to confront the uncomfortable gap between their self-image and reality. Take, for example, a common scenario. A teenage daughter repeatedly challenges her mother, provoking arguments over small, trivial issues. Each time the mother reacts defensively, the conflict escalates, validating the daughter's emotional unrest. Yet one day, in an unexpected moment of quiet strength, the mother chooses silence. The daughter, accustomed to constant reactions, initially feels victorious, but soon discomfort grows. Without her mother's defensive replies, the daughter has nowhere to direct her inner turmoil. In the silence, she begins questioning herself, forced to confront her own underlying feelings of insecurity and frustration. Slowly, the daughter realizes her provocations weren't truly about her mother. They were about avoiding deeper issues she hadn't been ready to face until now. Reflect deeply. Have you recognized the profound power of your silence in similar moments? When you choose silence over immediate reaction, do you realize you're quietly, yet decisively, handing others back their emotional responsibility? However, it's crucial to understand clearly that not all forms of silence are equal. There is a thin but significant line separating true strength in silence from quiet resignation. While authentic silence is born from self-assurance and inner mastery, silence stemming from fear or passive acceptance is merely submission in disguise. Nietzsche delivered a harsh but necessary truth when he said, "What you call peace is often just your domesticated surrender." Be brutally honest with yourself right now. Have you ever mistaken your silence born out of avoidance or fear as strength? Have you quietly accepted unjust treatment, rationalizing it as patience or maturity, when in reality it was simply easier than facing conflict? Genuine silence as true power, is active, deliberate, and deeply intentional. It's a choice, not an escape. It's a boundary, not surrender. Take a moment now and examine your own patterns. Are there times you've confused genuine inner power with quiet resignation? Have you mistaken avoiding confrontation for being above conflict, while in reality, you were silently surrendering your power and self-respect? To master true silence, you must first clearly see the difference. True silence is freedom. Freedom from emotional manipulation, freedom from the endless struggle to prove yourself. Submission disguised as silence, however, is captivity. It chains you to the expectations and reactions of others. So ask yourself now, honestly and courageously, have you truly been silent in strength, or have you unknowingly been silent in surrender? The answer might feel uncomfortable, but it holds the key to unlocking the real, undeniable strength waiting quietly within you. Consider for a moment what true silence genuinely means. Not the uncomfortable quiet after an argument, nor the defeated surrender when you're too exhausted to respond. True silence is something deeper, more powerful, and profoundly transformative. True silence is pure presence. It is mastery. It's the calm, undeniable confidence that comes from knowing who you are without needing to prove it to anyone. Imagine the image of a warrior standing perfectly still on a battlefield. Around him, chaos rages, opponents shouting threats, weapons raised, tension thick in the air. Yet this warrior does not move. He does not even reach for his sword. His expression is calm, his breathing steady, and his stance unshakable. In this powerful stillness, he conveys an overwhelming message. He has already won. Not by defeating his enemies, not by forcing submission, but by refusing to play their game. He is not waiting for battle because he no longer needs to fight. In his silence, the warrior declares himself invincible, not through aggression, but through an unshakable inner strength that renders the battle meaningless. Ask yourself deeply, have you ever allowed yourself to stand this still, this certain? Or have you constantly been drawn into unnecessary battles, wasting your energy proving your worth to people who aren't even certain of their own? How many times have you stepped onto a battlefield that didn't belong to you, engaging in arguments fueled by insecurity rather than clarity? Consider this carefully. Every moment you choose to explain yourself, every instant you rush to justify your existence, you're reinforcing an illusion that your value depends on external approval. But what if right now you chose something radically different? What if you embrace true silence, accepting it not as a void to fill, but as a state of profound presence and self-acceptance? What would happen within you if you stopped desperately trying to make others see your worth and instead fully acknowledged it yourself? Wouldn't you sense a quiet yet unmistakable awakening deep within? A realization that your worth never needed external confirmation? This silence is not passive or weak. It's active, vibrant, and filled with a profound authority. It allows you to break free from the exhausting cycles of reaction and defense. In fact, your silence becomes a beacon that others unconsciously recognize and respect. Just as the warrior who refuses to draw his sword commands the battlefield through his stillness, you too can command respect through your choice of silence. By not reacting, you're no longer playing by someone else's rules. You take back control of your energy, your emotions, and your inner world. Consider the true power of this silence. It's the courage to stay grounded amidst noise, to remain centered when everyone else is losing balance. It's your silent declaration of independence from others' opinions, manipulations, and emotional games. It's about fully reclaiming your personal power, deciding that your inner peace is not negotiable. This is the genuine meaning of mastery, not dominating others, but becoming profoundly, unshakably rooted within yourself. Think clearly about moments you've wasted attempting to convince others of who you are or why you made certain choices. How did it feel afterward? Did you truly feel stronger? Or simply more drained, more fragmented? Contrast that exhaustion with the profound calmness you'd experience if you simply decided that your worth needs no further explanation, that your silence says everything worth saying. So, if you stopped trying to justify yourself, what deeper truths would you finally hear within? Perhaps you'd discover that underneath your restless need for validation lies something quieter and far stronger, an inner wisdom patiently waiting for you to stop and listen. You might find a sense of self that is so steady, so sure that no outside judgment can shake it. The voices and criticisms around you would gradually fade, replaced by clarity and profound peace. Ask yourself, honestly and courageously, this critical question. If you stopped trying to explain yourself, if you simply chose silence right now, what would begin to awaken inside you? Would you finally feel the freedom you've always desired, The liberation from constantly proving yourself? Would you sense a growing strength, an undeniable confidence rooted deeply within you, untouched by the shifting opinions of others? True silence is not emptiness. It is presence. It is the unmistakable clarity that emerges when you stop drowning yourself in explanations, justifications, and defensive reactions. In your silence, you rediscover your true essence, authentic, powerful, whole. You become that warrior who, by refusing to fight, has already triumphed. The greatest battles you face are never with others, but within your own mind, against your own fears, insecurities, and self-doubt. Now imagine yourself standing in that silent strength, unmoving and unafraid. How would that version of you navigate your world? How would your relationships shift when you no longer reacted out of insecurity, but instead responded from a place of calm certainty? Picture clearly the profound shift that would happen within you and around you the moment you fully embraced your silence, your power, your mastery. Your silence can become your greatest teacher and your most powerful ally. Are you willing right now to stop speaking, to pause, and truly listen to the strength that quietly waits inside you? You don't always need to speak to be understood. Your silence, in fact, can be the most powerful language you possess. In a world filled with noise, constant reactions, and endless justifications, choosing silence can be your most profound act of self-respect and clarity. Consider all the energy you've poured into trying to convince others of your worth, your reasons, your perspectives. How often has explaining yourself truly brought the understanding you sought? More importantly, did it ever bring you genuine peace? Or did it leave you even more frustrated, more misunderstood, trapped in an exhausting cycle of seeking validation externally? Silence isn't about avoiding communication. Rather, it's about recognizing when words no longer serve you. It's about understanding that the clearest statement of who you are often emerges when you say nothing at all. Your silence speaks volumes. It says that your inner peace is no longer negotiable, that you no longer feel compelled to prove yourself to anyone. Can you imagine the strength and freedom in embracing this truth? Think about a moment when you consciously chose silence over reaction. Maybe it felt uncomfortable at first, perhaps even unnatural. Yet, as the quiet settled around you, didn't you feel something deeper stirring inside? Didn't you begin to sense an empowering presence, a realization that you finally took control of your own emotional space? When you choose silence, you're no longer explaining yourself. You're simply being yourself, fully, genuinely, unapologetically. It's in those quiet moments that your authenticity shines brightest, clearer than any words you could ever speak. You don't owe the world continuous explanations. Your true power lies not in how effectively you can argue your case, but how confidently you can remain rooted in your inner truth without saying a single word. Now I'd love to hear about your own experience. When was the first time you deliberately chose silence instead of reaction? How did it truly feel in that moment? Did you feel liberation, fear, peace, or perhaps a powerful mixture of emotions? Take a moment right now to reflect deeply on that experience. Then please share it with me in the comments. Your honest reflection not only helps you embrace your own clarity, but also helps others recognize their hidden strength in silence. Your story matters deeply, and I genuinely look forward to hearing it.